Greetings Guild Wars 2 fellows, you are about to massively step up your game experience in Guild Wars 2 because today I'm going to show you 10 useful tips on how to set up your game experience for maximum fun. So grab your coffee, here we go. Guild Wars 2 is a great game when it comes to unique contents and customizations, but there's still quite a few things that aren't on par with new MMOs on the market like New World or Black Desert. One of those things is the action combat, and despite Guild Wars 2 having a feature like the direction camera for years, yet not a lot of people know about it or actually use it. Playing with the default tap targeting mode and crippling your fingers with inconvenient keybinds is just a pain in the ass. Now try to navigate or dodge while reaching the number 6 key for your heal at the same time. Number 9 key.
Honestly, every time I try to do something fun or exciting, you make it not that way.
So the action camera makes things a lot easier here. For example, you don't have to abuse your tap target anymore before smashing your foes, but also you no longer need to hold down right mouse button to navigate properly. Your default chain attack, which was the number 1 key before, will now be mapped to your left mouse button instead, which makes the overall combat much more intuitive and compelling. Now go bonk some brain dead swannies. If you played other action RPG, you know how valuable fast input is. To enable that, simply go to Options, Control Options, scroll down to Camera, set any key for toggle action camera. So it is best to use Ctrl C here so you don't overlap and trigger it on accident. Do this for disable action camera as well. Now this button will temporarily disable the action cam whenever you need to interact with UIs. And I got Alt for disable because the Alt key needs some love too. Here we have some really unnecessary feature, just turn it off for joker's sake. Unless you want all those completed quests slapped in your face. AoE loot on interact, kind of useful to a degree. This one here I find is the most important one because it shows your cooldown of skills in numbers, so you know exactly when your kung fu stuns are ready again. Show target health in percentage, definitely have it on. Make sure to turn these two options on, especially when you're a healer and you tend to play lots of competitive contents. And if you're struggling to spot the health bars on screen, you may want to make them bigger. Unless you're a real Dickinson and you enjoy watching people die around you. As for dynamic HUD, now I myself usually prefer immersion and simplicity over functionality when not playing competitive contents. I just got these free settings like menu bar, reward panel and chat bar set to show only when out of combat, though you will still see the chat bar when people are typing, so the chat bar just becomes transparent. See, it looks clean and immersive. Everything else is set to always show, however, this is purely personal preference and adjust it if you see fit. Talking about a camera, now there are 3 types of plays when it comes to camera settings. One that prefers functionality and convenience over everything, they crank up that field of view all the way up so they can dodge bullets from every corner. They don't care about distorted screen as long as they got vision. The other one has no idea whatsoever and always sticks to the default settings. The last one, however, studies every angle and frame of the game. He optimizes the golden ratio of the image. He becomes the Picasso of Guild Wars 2. It is really up to you how you tweak the settings. Maybe you can find the sweet spot between immersion and vision. I don't want to go too much into detail. You can play with the settings yourself and see how it works out for you, but generally the settings I have right now works phenomenal, so you can pause the video right here and copy the settings. There's one interesting setting here, it's the horizontal position, as it places your character slightly off center. As you can see, I have my character placed slightly to the left side of my screen. You might have already seen this kind of cam settings in AAA games like Horizon, Until Dawn, Assassin's Creed or Black Desert, you name it. Having it slightly aligned to the left side not only increases your immersion, but it also gives your character more depth and emotion to the animation. Having camera shake turned on makes things more engaging. Unless you don't like your screen doing what shakes or you get dizzy from it, then just stay casual. Definitely have enable teleport camera turned on. Very important, adjust camera to character height, because you don't want to have your character's butt right in front of your screen the whole time, do you? Unless... I think she's got a nice personality. Ground targeting set to normal gives you the best control for casting certain AoEs. It allows you to move freely around while targeting and cast whenever and wherever you want. The only little downside to this is you would have to tap your key twice to cast it. Compared to fast targeting, your AoE will get casted as soon as you release the key. But due to less control, the chance of missing the target is also higher. I recommend using the normal ground targeting. Double tap to evade sounds good in theory, but it's not, as it requires you to double press the key to trigger. Also, when you try to dodge that way, your character will play a stuttering animation before dodging, resulting in a loss of about a half a second. Dodging in diagonal direction is also very difficult this way, so do not use it. Have double click to attack or interact on, as it helps with aiming in direct action cam mode. Auto targeting is a must-have if you use direct action camera. Without, you would be fighting an imaginary creature. Melee attack assist. Now, I've seen people who don't like this feature at all, but in my opinion it does make a difference, as you can miss your target when glitching through foes, especially in PvP. Glitching through enemies should be a thing of the past, honestly. Lock ground target at maximum range. This helps you to determine the maximum AoE range you can cast, preventing you from miscasting. Allow skill retargeting when using a skill that targets enemies. Changing your target will cause the skill to update with a new target. Use it. Check simple party UI. You don't need additional avatar icons on screen, which sacrifices space and vision. The way you set up your keybinds determines your overall MMO experience and perhaps your level of skill as well, because having your abilities right at your fingertips can decide the outcome of an intense battle. I have tested various keybind settings to find out which is the most efficient one. Now, due to different sizes and shapes of keyboards or hands, some configurations might work differently for you, so take this with a little grain of salt. I've got Q, E, R and tap for my weapon skills. These keys are fast to reach and ring finger is used for A, Q, tap and 1, so it is used to the maximum extent. E, R, 3, 4, 5, F are for the index finger. Our little finger gets to use the shift key for dodging, which is one of the most important skill in game, since it rests there most of the time. You will dodge faster and better that way. Up until now, our thumb had just one job, and that was to smash the biggest plastic button to jump. We've all seen those kinds of lads who jump around like chimpanzees. Apparently they can sort of dodge hits that way. Please report these people. So I use my thumb mainly for utility skills. For those, I use Z, X, C, V, B, G and eventually the N key. Here's the complete layout, so pause the video here and copy the settings if you will. The idea is to have your skills close to your movement key so it is easier and faster to reach. We all know a guy who says having the graphics set too low makes you a better gamer, because you get 9000 FPS and you spot enemies in bushes while the bushes are not visible to you. Really? If this is what you aim for, then go play WoW with some Roblox. Guild Wars 2 has way too many beautiful zones, and it is sad not to pay attention to it. In that regard, always aim for the highest possible graphics settings, since Guild Wars 2 is already outdated in terms of graphics and hardware requirements are way past that stage. It is safe to sacrifice a bit of FPS for more visual pleasing to the eye, while still maintaining competitiveness. Though Guild Wars 2 is not completely optimized yet, they have already implemented DirectX 11 graphics into the game, and they are going to update it further in the upcoming patch. If you are limited in graphics due to low-end hardware, then make sure to have textures, shadows and shader on high, because if you have these on low, the game looks terrible, and the textures don't take too much resources anyway. But if ultra high is even too low for you, and you want Guild Wars 2 to have better graphics, then I have something for you. This post-processing shader mod will make your Guild Wars 2 look like a remastered version of its own. It enhances lighting, giving it a more volumetric lighting ambience similar to Black Desert Remastered. You will get deeper shadows, more crisp texture details like bump maps without over sharpening. It has a low impact on performance and works without add-ons as well. The eye adaptation is also a nice feature to have that compensates dark areas in game. The shader pack comes with day and night indicator and a static UI mask. Now I've seen some people complaining about how it costs $10 to get it because Reshade is all free to use and you can modify and tweak it by yourself, etc. Let me tell you this. Yes, you can technically download Reshade for free and make your own preset and shaders, but just saying that this shader pack was made overnight with a click of a button is just ignorance. And no, this shader was not just about turning up the contrast or cranking up the overall sharpness. If that was the case, then I would just tweak my monitor settings, which also has sharpness and contrast levels. I've put a decent amount of time and effort into making this shader pack. I used 90% of what was already there and what was already good, and I tweaked it to my likings. No need to reinvent the wheel here. The other 10% was coded and modified by me, which includes the UI indicator, UI mask and global lighting. If people can cook their own food, why would they order food delivery? If you are eager to rediscover Tyria in new shades with Reshaded 3D, then you will find the link to this shader in the description below. We've also a Discord community that can help you. There are tons of useful add-ons out there. I will only list a few that I'm using myself. The first one I recommend is the Radial Mount menu. It is a compact pop-up menu for mounts. You can select any mounts with just a press of a button. Simply assign a key for the pop-up menu and hover to the desired mount. Like this crappy sky scale that doesn't really fly. Next one is Arc DPS. Now if you're not into competitive gaming, then this add-on won't be much of a help to you. It can be utilized to monitor your performance in raids, fractals, or even PvP. It has a DPS meter and some other stats tools that can be extracted for further analysis. There are also other add-ons that improve game performance like the D912 PXY, but that one could be obsolete after the release of End of Dragons in its DirectX 11 update. And if you're struggling to find resources on the map, then the Techo add-on might be for you. It shows you a way path to resources and helps you to solve puzzles. But then it somehow defeats the whole purpose of playing the content. That's just my opinion. You do you. Communication is an essential part of the game. It is required to do competitive contents as a team, but the chat box can be overwhelming sometimes, especially when you get lots of unnecessary spam like, "Hey, we're an adult manhood guild, we are looking for a manly caveman. Age requirement is 40+, Southern accent preferred." At this point, you just want to filter out the whole world. You can do that by creating a new channel where you can decide what to read and what not. Having lots of players on screen makes the game feel very alive, but having lots of display names on screen is just eye cancer. I would dare to say it gets close to a text-based RPG game, if you still know what those are. Just turn these off and make sure to have world versus world simple nameplates turned on by setting it to everyone. Your eyes will thank you later. Did you know that you can change the in-game music? You could technically have Super Mario music played while fighting an epic raid boss. Guild Wars 2 Wiki has a step-by-step guide on how to do that. Simply place your own music in document/Guild Wars 2/music. Create a playlist and rename each playlist accordingly. Then do some minor text edits in your playlist file. Make sure Guild Wars 2 can read and access the playlist by setting the right path. If you need help with anything or want to do some awesome contents with us, then feel free to join our growing community on Discord. That's it for now. I hope I could help to boost your game experience, and let me know in the comments how you like the settings. I wish I could upload every week, but writing a script for a video is so damn hard for me, especially in English because it is not my native language. I appreciate every help and tips I can get, so please hit the like button and subscribe so the YouTube algorithm shows this lovely face into other gamers' feed. Thanks for watching and see you in the next video.